Hello everyone, and welcome to another day of NGS. Now today's going to be a bit different. We are going to be doing replays, which ironically also mean that I'm actually live. Typically I do have a delay, but now it's just going to be those 5 to 6 default seconds that Twitch has with their system. The first match of today is going to be Bork Side of the Moon versus Macro Machines. Now, I don't know their points. I'm not going to look at it because as a replay, it's already happened. And I'm trying to avoid spoilers. But what we can look at, however, is the map pick. Now, I don't know the first map picked either. We'll find out as soon as we get into the game. But the bans have been a little bit of alliteration, with Bork banning Battlefield of Eternity and Brax's Holdout. And then Macro Machines going to be banning out Dragonshire and Alterac Pass. Now, Bork Side of the Moon, definitely not a fan of fun. We'll remove my 2 favorite maps, but you know what? Not much we can do about that. But we will start getting set up here with game number 1. Now, please be patient with me, as I don't do replay casts too often. For the most part, there's something live every single day, so I do focus more on that. But I believe this should be good. And it looks like game number 1 actually is going to be the Infernal Shrine, so that should be fun to watch. No idea what the drafts are going to be like, but let's just go in without any further ado. All right, let's take a moment, take a look at these 2 drafts. Should be a fun one at the very least.
Prepare yourselves for
all right, so what do we got here? Bork Side of the Moon going to be Cutie Puppy on Arthas, ATD on ETC, double tank. So, I mean, we've seen Bork play similar styles before, and it's not a true double tank. The Arthas most likely is going to be the offlaner, and it is on. No, it is a double tank because they have a Leoric as well. Very interesting composition. Silver Spy on the Tyrande and Bacon on the Jaina. And meanwhile, on Macro Machines, we got Hoku on Sonya, Seralith on Stukov, Amaburb on Tychus, Dark Knight on Joanna, and Kerrigan for Arcane 13th. Definitely some interesting picks here, as the Sentinel just going to be poking away Seralith. And the 2 sides start meeting up in the mid lane. The Cutie Puppy immediately is just going to walk forward, going to get that Howling Blast, but not going to be able to land the root onto anyone. And both sides just going to be pushing it out. I mean, with Jaina there, typically I do expect Bork to get the first pull, but they Condemn will come through. They will be able to get at least a couple of these minions down before they get going. But Macro Machine's actually able to get the push first. And the overkill from Burb is also pretty good at dealing with these waves. With the grenade as well. Just a lot of AoE bursts to help kill down these minions as fast as possible, but right now, neither side really gaining any major advantage in terms of push pressure, in terms of just overall map and macro advantage. Macro Machine's still going to be able to be the first ones to get the push. And actually, because of that, Bork Side of the Moon, they're going to get started on their siege camp. ATD going to have to back up, grab that soak over in the mid lane. With Arcane 13th matching into Cutie Puppy. And it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. I mean, I gotta say, I've casted many games, as you've all seen. I have never casted a Kerrigan versus an Arthas lane before. I even had to click on the hero to be able to tell what that was. And if I sound a bit off, me and my family, we did go grab some food, and I have definitely overeaten, so I'm just kind of a little bit drowsy. And ITD gonna get kind of dropped all the way down to about a 10th HP. Slightly not enough DPS, but the Lurkin Arm coming out from Seralith, and just that full combo used will force them to at least Hearth, so it will give a little bit of map pressure over to Macro Machines, but it's still a decent time commitment for 4 heroes to do that play, and this allows Silver Spy and Bacon to take over the siege camp in that bot lane. Now they will start pushing it out, and again with a Blizzard from Bacon, it's just so hard to get the push into a Jaina. So much push potential coming out from that hero. But Arcane 13th and Seralith gonna take their Bruiser camp. Almost done grabbing it, just a few more hits needed. The Sentinel just gonna poke Seralith a little bit. And it will get started by Bork Side of the Moon as well. But the Shrine's already spawning in 25 seconds. Though typically it is better to get the Bruiser camp later. as long as that later doesn't end up giving the first move over to the other team by too much. But the Bruiser camp, at least for the side of Macro Machines, already going to be grouping up top as there is a play in the mid lane looking for Cutie Puppy, but able to sidestep it. As I need to remember what these are called. Primal Grasp and Impaling Blades. But they're looking at Hoku with the Power Slide. Not going to be able to get too much more damage. And the minigun damage from I'm a Burb on a Smoke is going to be unreal. I mean, whenever there's a triple frontline composition, you want the Tychus, and the Tychus is definitely working great. And with that, Macro Machines will have first move on the Skeletons, but the Bruiser camp pushing in will be a pretty big advantage for Bork side of the moon as well. If they're able to buy a little bit of more space and a little bit more time around these Skeletons, someone will have to go back and deal with it, or else they will lose a decent chunk onto their wall. But now Cutie Puppy looking forward. The Howling Blast is going to land, but it's only on his Aerolith, as now the fight's starting to brew. Hoku starting to get pretty low, but is able to back away. Now Arcane 13, body blocked by 2 people. And they will get zoned away, but they're not going to go down. They're not going to lose anyone. And actually, a lot of members of Bork side of the moon are pretty low as well. Smoke especially baking at Silver Spy quite low. But Silver Spy trying to heal everyone back up. But now Macro Machines are going to be able to clear the top waves. They're going to be back and there. They have the blades, and they're going to be able to take down Smoke. They're going to be able to take down Cutie Puppy. 2-0 for Macro Machines. And the damage from the Kerrigan and really from their entire combo is really high. As now ETD on the wrong side of the map, but they're just kind of ignoring the cow. They care more about the wave. And frankly, I think that's a smart choice. Arcane 13th just kind of trying to zone ATD away. Definitely an interesting macro play to be had, but I mean, it's working. They were able to zone away the main tank, and the main tank for this actually does matter because no one else wants to take that jump. If someone outside of them would be the ones to tank the thing, they would get absolutely blown up by the Macro Machines. Now, Cutie Puppy was at least able to walk up and tank it for them before ATD09 was able to get back onto the map, but still pretty big wins for now for Macro Machines, and it looks like they're going to be able to take down this fort. It's going to be close to Arcane 13th with a couple more Ravages. Just need a few more hits. Come on, Punisher! And we'll be able to do it. So that will be the first brick going over towards Macro Machines. And they're kind of fulfilling their own team name. Right now, they're mostly just winning off the macro plays. They did have the 2-0 earlier, but I don't think it made too much of a difference in terms of securing that objective. And now with that, they're going to be taking their siege camp. Bork side of the moon, they're just going to be pushing out the midway for now. Hoku already holding onto that bot lane. Going to start shoving that in as well. Quite a bit of lane pressure right now for Macro Machines. And this left side siege camp hasn't been started yet by Bork. So it could be an opportunity for them to invade. But with them being as close as they are to level 10, they don't want to throw the lead they have. They know they'll have at least some power play soon. But Arcane 13th getting jumped by Smoke. Cutie Puppy as well. But the Blade's able to land on it too. It's just going to be a blind. I'm a Burb dealing a lot of damage to Cutie Puppy with that minigun, but not going to be able to really accomplish too much push with that. And a few hits over onto the Impalers, and that will be cleared. And during that time, Bork side of the moon did finish off their camps as well. As now Cutie Puppy going to be catching over in the spot side. But both these two teams are kind of just walking around. Neither one really wants to force an engagement. Macro Machines had level 10. Bork side of the moon gonna reach their level 10 here as well. Now, there is going to be the leap coming out of Hoku. Other than that, it's even with that, it's pretty standard stuff. Ultralisk going to be coming out from Arcane 13th. But still waiting on the Heroic from Dark Knight. Now, I'm wondering if there will be a Falling Storm. There could be an argument for it. It is a very good... and it is actually going to be a Falling Storm. Okay, so the argument for it is that it's a really good cleanse and basically makes Mosh Pit completely worthless if they're not able to catch Dark Knight into it. So ATD09, with the longer cooldown as well, by the way, not going to be able to use that main engage ability and that main kind of X factor during these team fights. But now Smoke gonna use the Entomb, but I'm a Bourbon Arcane 13th. They saw it coming. They try to back away and won't get caught in it. As now Hoku walks up to the top side and will get started on this Bruiser camp. And both sides just going to be able to trade theirs, most likely anyway. I thought that Smoke and Silver Spy would be starting on it. But it will be Macro Machines finishing theirs off first. Silver Spy now going to begin it. Bacon's going to be there to help. And again, with the Blizzard, with everything else that the Jaina can output, will be a very quick thing to take down. As again, the Sentinel just going to poke down Dark Knight, going to dismount that Joanna. ATDO9 was able to get a little bit of a push in the bot side, so that could add up later. But now they're looking for ATDO9. They have the Ancient Spear, but with the Power Slide, going to be able to get back to safety. Now the Shrine is going to be spawning in about 5 seconds, as both sides are going to start grouping towards with level 12 on both sides. Neither one has that level 13 advantage yet. The Dark Knight grouping over in the front. Going to get the Condemn on to 3, but neither side really pulling the trigger yet. But now the Lurking Arm, and they're able to get a lot of damage, but the Mosh Pit in the back line. And that's where the Falling Sword works. They're able to cancel it. Leap as well. Summon Cinder goes, just everything getting burned. Hoku's so low. Everyone is so low on Macro Machines. Hoku will be the first to go down. Dark Knight, 9 HP, will get finished off. Arcane, 13th. Still looking for Cutie Puppy with the Ravage. One more hit, will be able to get it, but will be traded back in return. It was a 3-for-1 in favor. Make that a 3-for-2. I'm sorry. I'm a Burb able to finish off ATDO9 or Smoke. I forget which one died first. It looks like ATDO9 was the last one to go down. So we'll turn that into a 3-for-2. Slightly better for Macro Machines, but still definitely a victory for Bork's Side of the Moon, as they're also going to get the pressure on this Shrine, and they also have the pressure on the top lane. The Bruiser Camp already finishing off the walls while this play has been happening. A Smoke actually getting taken down quite low from all that. But there's still 11 skeletons left for Bork's Side of the Moon, and the entire roster of Macro Machines, basically anyway, is going to be here. So there could be another fight over this objective. And now I'm a Burb able to kind of zone them away, but with the Power Slide just going to be dodged away in time as they're looking. The second Tomb comes out, Swipe, going to pull everyone away. Now they have the Falling Blades. Silver Spy going to get taken down, but so will the Stukov. Both healers going to get removed immediately. And Arcane 13th getting zoned away. The Punisher did go the way of Bork's Side of the Moon. Arcane 13th with the Water Elemental going to be in a bad spot. Ultralisk going to come out and actually will be able to get the stun on to 3, but won't matter in the end. It's going to be another kill going the way of Bork's Side of the Moon. But because they took the time to get that kill, they're not here to push with this Punisher. It's already at half HP, and it's only now started damaging on the structures. So they may not be able to get quite as much pressure on the map with this. They will be able to take the wall, and the Punisher did do a little bit of damage over to the fort itself, but definitely less value than Macro Machines got from their first objective. However, the Bruiser Camp, during that entire engagement, look how much damage it has dealt to that fort. That was a perfectly healthy fort up until that Bruiser Camp came in and just kind of kept smacking it. Now Smoke and Silver Spy looking for Hoku, and the entire roster is just here. They want this fort. They want to get the first building for themselves, and they will, but it may get answered here on the bot side. Dark Knight, Burb, and Seralith grouping up as 3. They know that 4 were just showing top, so they're aiming to trade this fort back. But now Summon Cinder Goes is going to be there. Cutie Puppy aiming forward, trying to slow someone down. The rest of the team is on the way. Now the Howling Blast will land on the Dark Knight. There's no more Iron Skin, so they have everything. They have the Power Slide. They have the Face Melt. But the Falling Sword gonna come out. Dark Knight gonna survive. 40 HP. The damage, unfortunately, just barely isn't there. And the Sentinel actually could have gotten the last little bit of damage necessary. But won't happen. Hoku, in the meanwhile, with the help of Arcane 13th, will be able to take the Siege Camp. But I like how both these teams, they started slow, but now they're really looking for these fights. I'm a Burb looking for a Cutie Puppy. And the left Siege Camp will go over to Bork's Side of the Moon as well. And now they're going to start their retaliatory push over in this bot lane. They're going to get the wave shoved in as Bacon and Silver Spy, once again, just going to get started on these neutral camps, focusing more on the macro play, getting that extra bit of XP. Both sides are at level 16 now as well, so we're starting to get pretty into that late game. A lot more talent left for each of these two teams, and it's going to be the Storm talent. Now Hoku and Arcane 13th doing up again. Just going to be able to finish off that top lane Bruiser Camp. But the push still coming through for Bork's Side of the Moon. And they do have 4 members here. As Dark Knight walking forward will land the Condemn, but it's just on a Cutie Puppy. Definitely not the main target they want. Especially not in a 3v4 scenario. But that they will be able to at least clear away the Siege Camp over the mid lane. As Smoke's going to be matching that Bruiser Camp top. And we'll make sure that gets cleared away too. Silver Spine Bacon only now going to get to the Bruiser Camp, going to start pushing it out, but there hasn't been any major push up. But ATD could be in a bad spot. But with a Boombox, we'll be able to prevent any aggressive play. As we're back to the macro plays, but Cutie Puppy gonna get hit into the wall, gonna get silenced as well. The Lurking Arm dealing so much damage. ATD barely gonna power slide away. That was actually really close, but both Leap and Summon Ultralisk not gonna be able to land there. And now ATD could try answering, looking forward, but it's just gonna be a bit of an extra slow. Howling Blast gonna land as well. Arcane 13th is gonna get caught in the Entomb, but with the Falling Sword, so much damage. And now it's already a 2-for-1. Arcane 13 still alive. And the swipes just keeping them alive. The Starfall not going to be enough damage. Cutie Puppy getting chased, but will be able to just back away. Say 2-for-0 for Macro Machines. The Shrine is active. So this is definitely an opportunity for Macro Machines to try and get more pressure on the map and maybe some more structures. It is going to be that Arcane Punisher spawning over in the bot lane, but someone will eventually have to go back to deal with this happening at the top side. A Smoke with the Drain Hope trying to get more of that HP back, trying to get a respawn back. Well, they can maybe contest onto this, but may have been a bit late already. There's already 30 skeletons down for Macro Machines. They'd have to have a massive team fight right before that, but unfortunately not going to be able to. Now, Cutie Puppy already pushing in the top lane as well. Hoku's going to be matching that, but will be difficult. Summon Cinder goes actually going to buy a lot of time and a lot of pressure for that push. But either way, they're still going to be 4-on-4 in the bot lane. A lot of damage on ATD09, but lots of healing coming out of Silver Spy and from ATD09 as well. But they are pushing onto this fort, and it should go down. The question is, what's going to be the next move? Arcane 13th ravages onto ATD09, but not able to pull them back, not able to get the Primal Grasp into the Impaling Blades. One day I'll remember these abilities. I've had a few Kerrigan games at this point. But they are looking for a Cutie Puppy. Gonna get slowed down as well as ATD09 could be in a good angle. And the Entomb is there, but the swipes buying so much time. And now the Falling Sword trying to keep Arcane 13 in a good spot, but the Root's still gonna be there. And now ATD09 with the Mosh Pit, but they're gonna zone them away. They will be able to take down Saralith in a little bit anyway. And Smoke still chasing on to Dark Knight. Has a Drain Hope active, but not gonna be able to slow them enough. It was a 2-for-0 for Bork Side of the Moon. But what can they get with it? The Arcane Punisher will get a couple extra smacks onto the keep. Not going to amount to too much damage. But that was the bot lane taken down overall in favor of Macro Machines. As now they're looking towards Dark Knight. And they have the slow. They have the condemn. And without a wave, this is definitely dangerous. Even 3v5. If they don't have too many HP bars. And there's still quite a bit of damage available on Macro Machines. They still have I'm a Burb. They still have Hoku. Would definitely be a little bit presumptuous to think they could make that push work. But they've realized it themselves, and now they're looking towards Hoku, and the Leave has to be used defensively. Water Elemental going to get popped there as well. Dark Knight lands a Condemn onto 4, but with the Iron Skin, actually going to keep them alive. But I'm a Burb is going to be in a bad spot instead. But Arcane 13th is here, and now the Falling Sword over top going to land into all 3. Silver Spy condemned back, but will be able to back away for now. Cutie Puppy will be the one to go down. The Root and the Stun. Arcane 13 is not going to be able to charge onto them. That's a good answer. They're going to be able to get that 2-for-0, and level 20s are available as well. And they did lose their mid lane fort, but they now have, well, I say a wave, but it's one heroic little range minion. But they're just going to be able to tank it up. They have the healing. I'm a Burb gonna pop the Odin as well. And with Big Red Button, they're going to be able to take this down very quickly. At least I assume it's Big Red Button. Yeah, it is. And now they can look for more. They did lose their fort, but they're going to be able to start pressuring onto the wall. And now the Root with the Blizzard actually doing quite a bit of damage over to Dark Knight. Saralith going to try to get that healing popped around. The team will be able to get at least a decent chunk of burst healing, but definitely not enough to continue pushing on towards this mid lane keep. And now the Impalers doing what Impalers do. They're impaling onto the fort. Just going to be a few more hits. Might be able to finish it off even. But the wave going to show up just in time to prevent it. So the bottom fort for Macro Machines will stand for now, as Hoku was there just in time for the defense. Now both sides do have that level 20. Both sides are ready to start pressing forward. Is ATD09 and the entire squad of Bork Side of the Moon kind of grouping towards the top side, but Smoke and Silver Spy will back out, will try to get that push over in the mid lane instead. And still watching this late. I'm hoping at some moment, Bork Side of the Moon just going to walk up. They just need one big smack. It's 468 HP. I think any of the members could do it, even Silver Spy. But unfortunately, if they do, it would require them to kind of give up some map control. They could definitely get answered in other places. And right now, this late into the game, one team fight could end the game, depending on where it is, depending on the wave states. But both sides need to play a little bit carefully. Now, the Shrine is going to be activating in just 5 seconds. ATD going to be in a pretty aggressive bush as well. But Macro Machines are going to play it safe. They're going to push out their top wave, make sure they have push over in 2 lanes instead, because they'll have the passive push in the bot lane no matter what. Now the Skeletons have spawned. Bork Side of the Moon already getting started. Odin gonna get popped immediately as Cutie Puppy fighting in the backline, looking at Cutie Puppy. They have the lurking arm for the silence as well, but very difficult target to go on to ATD09. In the meanwhile, we will use the power slide just to help peel. The Entomb is gonna land, but it's just gonna be on the Ultra list. Howling Blast not going to be coming through from Cutie Puppy. Up in the leap into the backline. And so much burst damage. ATD09 already gone. Bacon going to go into stasis. But with that, Dark Knight actually going to get traded back by Smoke. As Hoku is still in the backline. The Lurking Arm just buying so much space. Bacon, 100 HP. But with the swipes, will be able to survive. But that also saves Hoku. So preventing that a second trade from coming through. But Macro Machines are in a good spot. They have a huge push happening over in the bot lane. They're going to have this huge push happening in the mid lane with this Punisher. Very close team fight, but just barely. They're going to be able to come out on top. And the placements of those Lurking Arms from Seralith really helping out a lot in those fights. And the Impaling Blades from Arcane 13th have definitely been adding a lot of pressure as well. Just too many stuns for Bork Side of the Moon to watch out entirely. Now the Punisher is going to start grouping up in this mid lane as the Impalers are also going to get finished off there. And will help provide the extra push, but it looks like Macro Machines, they're a bit worried to walk up. They're enjoying this. It's not too much damage onto the keep, but it is free. And we'll take free damage any day. It's going to be half the HP of that mid lane keep going down. As Macro Machines, they're going to be able to take the siege camp. Replay didn't see any games scheduled. Wasn't expecting a stream. Yeah. A couple teams have asked me to do a cast for them, so I'll be doing a double-header replay cast today. And I always do it a bit more casual in replays as well. But this is game 1 of the first series, so you already got here pretty much right for the beginning of the stream. There's no draft either, so it's literally like 20 minutes in. But now the push is going to be coming through from Macro Machines over to the top side. The bot keeps very low, mid keep about half HP, so very good positioning for Macro Machines to be able to get a solid push going forward here. And we'll do the fun things and check the standings after, but Arcane 13th will blink away, and with the Ultralisk, we'll be able to keep ADD09 from pushing forward. But now Cutie Puppy is going to be able to get onto it, but now Arcane 13th can start trading back. Seralith is here as well. Dark Knight kind of fighting over in this bot side. The silence is going to be coming through as there's a fight happening on two fronts. Dark Knight trying to survive as Emma Burb is in the backline just trying to DPS. Seralith as well with the Lurking Arm able to create space as ATD09 looking for Dark Knight but not going to be able to find it. And in the end, neither side will go down. Both sides will be able to walk away from this fight. But Bork Side of the Moon with the advantageous position could start looking for this bruiser camp, but they haven't started yet. Dark Knight gonna face check the brush. Has the leap in the back line, and now with the falling sword as well. They're already taking down Silver Spy. Now Cutie Puppy and ATD09, they're in the front line. Hoku starting to get pretty low, but Odin gonna get popped now for the team fight. I'm a Burb with a big red button, dealing quite a bit of damage over to that front line. As Smoke and Cutie Puppy, they're all trying to run, and the triple front line not able to stand this damage, and the Lurking Arm slowing down Smoke. Dark Knight also gonna keep them from getting mounted, and that's gonna be another kill. It's gonna be a 2-for-0. And they still have this bruiser camp available to steal. They never took their own. They were chasing for the fight. And they could get a pretty solid push with this. The wave is already here. But however, during that moment, bot lane 4 did go down in favor of Bork Side of the Moon. They were finally able to get that just with a passive wave. But again, doesn't matter too much because Macro Machines, they're knocking on the front door. And they are still missing 2 members on Bork Side of the Moon, including Silver Spy, their healer. Now the push already going to be able to take down half the HP. They have the bruiser camp. They have 1 cannon. I don't know if they'll be able to finish this one off either, but they're going to be able to get it low as Macro Machines just getting solid pushes in every lane, but not able to take down any of the keeps yet. But once they're able to break the base, it's going to start falling apart immediately. Bork Side of the Moon, they don't have too many options, but they do have Dark Knight. Gonna be kind of caught, but with the Iron Skin pop, gonna be fine. The Lurking Arm able to prevent the fight, but the leap onto 3. And now they're looking. They have the Silent Smoke. It's gonna go down again, but ATD09 is in the back line. And right now, they're also onto Arcane 13. The fight's kind of all over the place, but Cutie Puppy is the one that's close right now. The Overkill trying to buy some space, but the Howling Blast will prevent it. Arcane 13 has to back out as well. Silver Spy will barely be able to heal back up enough. His Lurking Arm almost had enough damage alongside the grenade from Iron Burb. It's still a 1-0. Macro Machines were able to take down Smoke, but it was a very close fight. Very well fought from both these two teams. And each of these team fights, they're just absolutely on a knife edge. A lot of members get low, but the only ones that go down are typically the ones that you can still defend even without. Obviously, still want all your members, but Smoke is probably the single best player to have go down. But now Odin's going to get popped. Smoke is going to respawn and looking forward. Has the Entomb. Summons into Goza as well. And they're looking towards the back line, but they have the Falling Sword. As now the Condemn also helping people for the backline. Silver Spy getting jumped on by Arcane 13th. Will be able to get the Lunar Flare as the leap into the backline. Arcane 13th will be the first one to go down. But now the Condemn. Cutie Puppy 100 HP, but will get the heal last second. As neither side able to really cleanly win the fight fully. But it is going to be a 1-0 in favor of Bork Side of the Moon. But the Arcane Punisher going to go the way of Macro Machines. And actually, this keep already going to go down. The Cannon, really the true MVP in this split push. And they have 4 members into 5 with the Punisher. Can they end here? This definitely could be an opportunity, but definitely defendable on the side of Bork's side. As now the Punisher jumping into the backline onto Silver Spy. Probably the best target it could have chosen, but now Hoku getting it rooted up. Gonna get stunned. And so much damage. Falling Sword will buy a little bit of time. And will actually be able to buy Hoku their life. 19D09 looking for the play. But not going to be able to find it as the Punisher absolutely wrecking face in the backline. The Blizzard is there. 80D09 gonna get burst down. And now it's 4v5, but they have the Mosh Pit after death. And that will buy some time, but not enough. The Punisher's too good. And Macro Machines, they win game number 1. As let's take a look over at the stats because it's a replay. This is how we do things here. And I mean, I gotta give a lot of credit over to Macro Machines. The way they played that was really smart. The way they played that was really clean. And so much hero damage, by the way, from the Tigers. Who was playing that? I can't even see because they're rooted, but they played phenomenally. 88k damage. And like I was saying, when it's into triple frontline, Tychus is the single best hero in the game, besides maybe Melthus. But on this map as well, Tychus is an absolute monster. But now with that being said, we are done game number 1, and let's get ready for game number 2. Let me just have a sip of water. Thank you. I should also check when the next ad's going to be. Yeah, it's cutting it close. Okay, I'm going to take a short ad break, and then we're going to get started on game number 2. Because, again, I do like running my ads, but I definitely don't want that going on in the middle of the game. So, back in about 3 minutes. See you in a bit. All right, and we are back with game number 2, and I try to get the set up so we can quickly get it as soon as I get started there, but pretty interesting draft coming out from these two teams. Now, pretty standard on Bork's side of the moon. They do have the Nubrak, Hanzo, Yrel, Sylvanas, Anduin. Pretty normal picks, kind of expected, but Macro Machines, they don't like standard. Oriel, Illidan, Murky, Chromie, and Muradin. Now, I probably can't name a single ability from Illidan or Murky except maybe the Hunt. But should be interesting enough anyway. And now it's time to get those attack damage stacks coming out from the Illidan, I believe is getting played by Arcane 13th. And speaking of Arcane 13th, is going to be getting pushed out a little bit of the bot lane. As Bacon and ATD09 with this Nubrak Sylvanas combo, definitely going to be really good at taking down those early structures. But now Bacon getting jumped upon. Detainment Strike actually going to provide a little bit of safety. But Arcane 13th going to get hit by the Bro Charger and the Impale. And 100 HP burning down in the last little bit of the Shadow Dagger. We'll be able to take down Arcane 13th. First blood going over towards Bork's side of the moon. And now they're going to have their push coming through. And the spot lane definitely not in a good spot. Stormbolt not going to land as Dark Knight getting pushed back by Bacon. And they will be able to clear out the wave. They will take a little bit of damage on their structures, but that first blood is going to be the real main victory for the side of Bork's side of the moon. As now Jimmy Bob Joe going to try getting this mid lane pushed in as well. And the Chromie will scale pretty well. It does look like it's most likely going to be the trap build right now, the time trap build. And I suspect that's what the level quote-unquote 2 talent's going to be, but we'll have to see as it does come up. Now, Bork's side of the moon, they're going to start clearing away their Bruiser camp, and Bacon and Silver Spy together should be able to do that pretty easily and pretty quickly. As Macro Machine's going to be able to take down their Siege camp. Now, over in the offlane, it is going to be Hoku on Murky, who's got to go down, but the egg is in a very safe location. We'll be able to just jump right back into the action momentarily. And that's the life of a Murky. Just gonna get a raffle stomped by the Yrel, but also won't really mind. And eventually we'll be really strong at pushing in the lanes, really strong at split pushing. Now, obviously, if they find the egg, there's not going to be too much pressure that this Murky will be able to accomplish. It's now Arcane 13th aiming for the top side. Kind of get pushed back, though, by Smoke. As I always forget what this one is. This one's the Righteous Hammer. I was confused with Staggering Blow sometimes from the Hogger, but Dark Knight and Arcane 13th going to get started on the Bruiser camp as well as the Siege camp. Both of them going to be pushing in towards that mid lane. The Bork side of the moon definitely in a better spot. They've already cleared up the Siege camp that Macro Machines have tossed into the mid lane. Sterolith has to be a little bit careful. Bacon and ATD09 could definitely burst them down quite easily. But Dark Knight's here, going to help a little bit with the push. As Jimmy Bob Joe in a bad spot. Will dodge out on the Impale. The Bro Charge will land, though. And Dark Knight is here for the peel. As now both sides going to start aiming towards this next seed. However, Bork's side of the moon definitely bringing more players here. And with the push happening in the mid lane, definitely going to be hard. And Bacon actually going to get taken down decently low, but Silver Spy will be able to take down the last little bit. Oh, I didn't even know I could remove that. Okay, appreciate that, Omster. I don't really do too many replays. I don't know a lot of the buttons for that, but Arcane 13th just trying to trade on to Silver Spy. Gets hit by the Chastise, but should be okay for now. It doesn't matter too much there. We'll just be able to jump back as Jimmy Bob Joe gonna slowly but surely push out this bot lane. And both teams are pretty even in terms of both level, in terms of both just kind of map pressure as well. Pretty even on both sides. As Arcane 13th is gonna get hit by the Righteous Hammer back, but again with that dodge, not gonna really care too much. And I think this is a pretty solid Illidan game. Just looking over the team comp on Bork's side of the moon, they don't really have a mage. There's going to be a lot of damage that's not going to be able to land, but now Dark Knight going to get hit by the Impale. Oh, not too much follow-up. And in fact, Dark Knight going to go forward. They're looking for Silver Spy, and the last Sandblast will be able to finish it off. Now Bacon also pretty low as well, but Arcane 13th not going to be able to jump over the wall to try and snag that Sylvanas. So it will be a 1-0, but Cutie Puppy in the meanwhile does have the push in the bot, and they had a lot more members there. And that will be one cannon tower going down as Arcane 13th looking to trade into Cutie Puppy, but it is a little bit difficult now. The Stormbow definitely can deal some damage as the seed will go over the way of Macro Machines. So if the Arcane 13th is low, the Hanzo will definitely be able to get that kill in theory, but now that Arcane 13th is low, can just absolutely run into Cutie Puppy. Will still get hit by the Stormbows, but can obviously heal better and survive longer than Cutie Puppy is. Now Bacon getting jumped by Arcane 13th in the backline. Dark Knight looking as well, but the Burrow Charge going to keep ATD09 alive with that Unstoppable. The Stormbolt was definitely going to land there. But could have been in a really bad spot. But now Arcane 13th just going to go back to mid lane, clear out these minions with just a couple autos. And both sides are just kind of clearing past each other. Arcane 13th will get a few autos onto ATD09. And now they're actually bringing quite a few members. But again, with a Burrow Charge, with Silver Spive's Divine Star, will be okay. And now, let me check out this thing. Minion kills and hero takedowns give attack damage. Okay, so this is going to be the infinitely stacking build. And obviously later on, Arcane 13th is going to be strong, but now they have the Impale. The Chastise not going to be in range, and Arcane 13th just kind of DPSing through it. So we'll be in a good spot. We'll be able to just back out a little bit. We'll be able to heal up. As the second seed does spawn in the bot lane, but level 10's up now for Bork. And now we'll get matched for Macro Machines. And it does look like Macro Machines, they're willing to give it up, but they just want to shove out this top lane as the Tamer Strike will land onto Silver Spy. As neither side fully commits onto this play quite yet. Now Bork side of the moon definitely look like they want to start pushing. Silver Spy gonna get hit by two of the Dragon's Breath. Time Trap is there as well. Slowing Sands will also buy a little bit of time. And Silver Spy gonna get hit by the Hunt. And now the Dragon Arrow not gonna be able to land. Silver Spy with the Divine Star able to stay alive for now. Wailing Arrow will prevent the follow-up. But Arcane 13 still looking, but will get finished off. And Silver Spy will be able to get the kill. And now Dark Knight still chasing this Anduin, staying alive forever. The Divine Star will come out for the healing. And now they can turn back. ATD able to get two with the Impale and the Burrow Charge. But it is going to be the 1-for-0 as Seralith just trying to prevent that objective from going over. But in the end, it will end up with two seeds as Silver Spy playing forward. Could be in a bad spot. The Stormbolt will land, but Dark Knight not enough damage on their own. But ATD09 in a bad spot. Getting so much damage dealt by Jimmy Bob Joe and is a little bit low on mana, but is still able to fight for now. As now again, the Detainment Strike just gonna push Cutie Puppy away. And neither side, again, able to take this seed quite yet. But Bacon still trading on a Dark Knight. Preventing that trade from popping on its own is really good. But now Jimmy Bob Joe going to start gathering as Arcane 13th jumping on a Bacon. Smokes here as well. And now they have the lockdown on a Silver Spy. And Light Bomb not going to come out in time. It's going to be a 1-for-0. And no healer available as the Hunt gonna drop onto Bacon. A couple more autos, but with the jump able to get away. Well, one more auto, and Arcane 13th will be able to get the kill, but will get traded back by the Fort. The Fort is very powerful. Cutie Puppy gotta get set up by the Stormbolt. A couple more hits. Dragon Arrow will buy a little bit of time, but the Tamer Strike not gonna be in the right spot, so Cutie Puppy not gonna get stunned. And now they're aiming back. They're gonna be able to take down Hoku, but with the egg will respawn fairly quickly. And actually, the Dragon's Breath able to take down Cutie Puppy. Nice snipe from Jimmy Bob Joe to get that extra trade, to get that extra kill. And during all that, Macro Machines, they will be the ones to get that second seed. So really solid trading going on between these two teams. But now Silver Spy getting jumped on again by Dark Knight, but Bacon's there to help peel the healer away. Now we can take a breath. We can take stock of what really happened, because both sides, all of their structures are still pretty sound. There was a bit of a push over in the bot lane earlier. Mid lane wall is actually entirely gone. I'm surprised about that. And top lane wall also getting in a pretty bad spot. And that would make sense. Smoke was up there for quite a while before Hoku was able to respond. And actually, Smoke was the one that kind of left the lane. So those minions were just pushing in the entire time. But now the invade coming through both sides of that. Level 13. ATD09 looking for the Burrow Charge. Almost lands in the Impale. Does get on to Seralith, but now the Dragon's Breath. Silver Spy in a really bad spot. And they will have the Hunt, but the Light Bomb is going to be more than enough, and they will have the Bruise Camp as well. Wailing Arrow into the back line. Dark Knight starting to get slowed with the Burrow Charge. They're able to get on to 2. And Seralith gonna be next. Dragon's Arrow gonna land as well. And it's a 3-for-0 in favor of Bork's side of the moon. as Cutie Puppy still chasing on to Jimmy Bob Joe. A couple Stormbows, a couple autos. But the scatter shot not going to land quite yet. Still just needs a few more autos. One more. And with the stasis, Cutie Puppy will be able to get that kill. And that will end it as a 4-for-0 as now Smoke trading back onto Hoku. And Murkies can deal quite a bit of damage, by the way, for those who do not believe it. Just a couple of those little splats can definitely start trading back. But it is going to be the bottom fort going the way of Bork Side of the Moon. And they still have a solid push going forward. Without Jimmy Bob Joe, there's a lot less clear, but Arkin 13th doesn't care about clearing minions. He cares about clearing Silver Spy. And Silver Spy will go down here. So does Hoku in the offlane with the help of ATD09. So that will be 2 seeds apiece, but at the very least, Macro Machines, despite losing actually a good chunk of their bot lane wall as well, will at the very least be able to get a kill back. Kind of a little bit of a silver lining after all of that has just gone down for them. Now the mid lane wall also taking a pretty big beating by Macro Machines. And actually even a little bit of damage over onto the mid lane fort. But they're not done. They're still looking to play aggressively. Dark Knight looking for the Stormbolt. And actually the Hunt going to get burned by Arcane 13th, aiming for Bacon. And now they have the Wailing Arrow. They're going to be slowed down. But Arcane 13th will have the healing coming out from Seralith. And will just be able to back away and start autoing onto the siege camp for some healing. And Arcane 13th is in the middle of everything. Looking for ATD09. They have the Entertainment Strike. A couple more hits. That's all they need. Do they have any more lockdown? But the Burrow Charge will be back up as ATD09 able to just jump up over the wall. And Hoku stealing a siege camp over on the top side during that. And that is the hard part about playing with a Murky, is that not going to be able to help too much for most team fights. But the good side about it is if you're able to hold on to those team fights 4v5, you will have good push happening in your offlane. But now both sides grouping towards mid lane. The 5th seed will be spawning soon, and it is on Macro Machine's side. But now ATD09 looking for the backline, able to get 3 in the Impale. But now the Light Bomb onto everyone, lands onto the same 3. Dark Knight starting to get really low. One more auto will be enough. Arcane 13th looking for the backline, looking on a Cutie Puppy. But also too much damage, too many members there. And now ATD09 still looking for Hoku. Will also get Seralith as well in the Burrow Charge. Can they hold off Cutie Puppy? Starting to get a bit low. A couple more autos. All that seeing Dragon Arrow not going to land. Cutie Puppy will get healed up by Silver Spy, but Hoku will go down, and the final seed will go over. Bork Side of the Moon can get that push, but Seralith able to at least take Cutie Puppy, but might get caught by the Impale themselves. And I will try healing back up, trying to buy a little bit of time, but it's not going to happen. The Black Arrows will disable this fort, and they should be able to destroy it at the same time. The Garden Terrors pushing in all 3 lanes. There's still a fort available on the top side. Hoku trying to clear that one out. The mid lane fort already gone down. The Bork Side of the Moon, they're still pressing forward. They're looking for this wall. But Arcane 13th and Dark Knight just aiming towards Bacon in the backline. They have the Unstoppable. But Arcane 13th can still just chase down. No Light Bomb. Gonna get used for appeal, but the Hunt will land as well. And Bacon just trying to survive, trying so long. Wailing Arrow as well. And will be able to peel back. Arcane 13th will be the one to go down. Now Dark Knight in a bad spot. Gets hit by the Burrow Charge. But everyone's starting to get pretty low on mana. The Chastise, however, will land. And nothing else will be able to follow up there. Now Hoku will be holding Smoke down with the Octo Grab. But it's still going to be traded back. Arcane 13th went down, not able to get anyone back. Black Arrows are back up. They're looking for this mid lane keep. As Smoke just aiming for the back line. And I love the Macro Machines. They're still aware of how they need to be playing this team composition. They're still playing super aggressively. Seralith is going to be back up. And now the Garden Terrors in the bot lane are going to be gone. And same with the ones in the mid lane, but it's still quite low. And the bot lane one getting hit by the cannon. 1 or 2 more hits, that's all that's needed. And this bot lane keep will go down. Bork Side of the Moon, with those Garden Terrors, they have taken an absolutely massively advantageous position. Now they're going to be aiming towards this bot side. They will be able to clear away this Bruiser camp. And I think they're just going to take the time, get their levels, slow down on the map a little bit because they're in no rush. They can just take their time, get the level 20s, and then try pushing with it. Now, especially because once level 18 comes through, Macro Machines will actually have an advantage. Thanks to having the Chromie. But Hoku could be in a bad spot, but I don't think either of them are super interested in chasing down Hoku. But the Hunt will come through. They're looking for Cutie Puppy, but with the wall. Will be able to just jump over, but Arcane 13th jumps over the wall and finds the entire team. And Arcane 13th will go down for that play. As Aerolith also in a bad spot, trying to run away. And a couple of souls, Divine Star as well, going to land, keeping them from getting mounted. And now the Crystal Aegis will come through, but the Light Bomb in the backline, Aerolith going to be caught in that. And now they have the Octo Grab just to buy some space, but Bacon still able to get into the backline. We'll take down Aerolith. There's now a little bit of trade. Dark Knight looking for Bacon, but the damage just isn't there. Jimmy Bob Joe, the main DPS, will get finished off here as well. And it's just Dark Knight and Hoku left standing, trying to hold the base. As Bork's out of the moon, they look like they're ready to end the game. They look like that's their plan. That's what they're going to push. And Dark Knight just trying his own cutie puppy away, but Bacon's the one that's going to be dealing most of the damage. Hoku and Dark Knight just trying to hold the wave, trying to use the core to help defend. But they're going to be able to take down Hoku for now. 5 seconds for that respawn. Arcane 13th is back here, looking for cutie puppy as well. Just going to have a few trades going back and forth. As Dark Knight will be able to finish clearing away those minions. But now the Stormbolt lands on to 2, trying to buy a little bit of time. Level 20 still not there. Dragging her into the backline as well. And the core able to polymorph, but they're able to take down 3. Bork's out of the moon. They took down Hoku, they took down Arcane, and they took down Dark Knight. And most importantly, they took down Macro Machines and pushed to a game number 3.
Red team's core is under attack.
And since we're doing that fancy replay thing, here are the main stats for those of you who are curious. It is that 1-1 score now, but so much siege damage. I mean, Smoke's been pushing the offlane so heavily on the Urel, just constantly there trying to Hoku was trying to match it, and Murky's really good at pushing the side lanes, but only so much you can do. But at the end of the day, I do like that Macro Machines tried something new. This is definitely a composition I've never seen before in NGS. I think I may have seen it a couple times in Storm League, but even then, definitely not common. And they almost made it work. Arcane 13th had a lot of really close calls, and I think if they were able to just get 1 or 2 of those extra kills, would have helped snowball, so would have been a lot of fun to see there. As the Captain Stream, thank you very much for the gifted sub. And most importantly, they took down Murky. I actually don't mind Murky. I think Murky's a lot of fun. Fantastic Caster, thank you. I really appreciate it. But with that, let me get that game 3 going. No need for a break here. I will need the tea, though. All right, where are we going for this map 3? Let's find out together. And it is going to be Towers of Doom. I actually love Towers. I know some players absolutely hate Towers. I think it's such a fun map to watch. I think it's such a fun map to play.
For battle, heroes.
Huh? This one. Okay. I was messing up my hotkeys, but okay, this is a really interesting tea composition. Whiskey and tea? No, just green tea. I don't really drink much, to be honest, at all. But Cutie Puppy gonna be on the Alarak, so that's gonna be fun.
The battle begins.
Stitch is gonna be played by ATD09, as I turned that on somehow. I'm not sure how. How did I do this?
3, 2, 1.
There we go.
Let the
But anyway, on the side of Macro Machines, it is going to be more of a standard draft, though kind of a triple front line. I'm a Burb, going to be playing on that Deathwing. And Hoku will be on the Dahakas. Now Cutie Puppy going to be able to just push away, will be in a safe spot as both sides bring in 5 members. Or as I say that, Smoke is going to be running up to the top side. ATD09 in the middle of everyone just trying to trade back and forth. Not going to be able to do it completely for now. The hook not going to land. Dark Knight jumping onto Bacon, just trying to buy some space. As the extra little sounds, the extra little bit of poke coming out from Arcane 13th. Definitely going to be valuable. And it is the multi-shot build, interestingly enough, coming out from Arcane 13th. Not seen super often, but I have seen it at literally every tier of play. And I've seen it succeed at every tier of play, including the top heroic division. So there's definitely a lot of games where it's not the best option, but there's definitely some use cases for it that I think do get ignored sometimes. And I think this is one of those maps where Arcane 13th could definitely be in a good spot with that build. Now is just going to be trading a little bit in this bot lane. It's going to be Cutie Pie versus Arcane 13th. And it's important to note that the Olarak kind of needs to rely on snowballing. But ATD09 trying to walk forward. They have the Stormbolt. They have the extra slow as well. As I'm a burp going to just block this entire way forward. And is kind of getting pushed into the fort. And one more hit coming out. Hoku going to be able to clear that like the rest of the minions in the mid lane. As that will be the first blood going over to Macro Machines. Now, the Sapper Camp in the meanwhile was finished by Bork Side of the Moon, but because they lost their main tank, they're not going to be able to contest onto the Sapper Camp getting taken by Macro Machines. And if Bork Side of the Moon, they're able to get the push out in time, they should be able to at least get the Sapper Camp to run in. But the Molten Flame from Mima Burb, so good at clearing out these waves. Dark Knight trying to tank it up a bit as Arcane 13th got a vault in, saw that quadruple stack and went for it, but will pay with their life. So that's going to be a... I mean, I respect that play regardless. The Sapper Camp will land though, and that's going to be the cannon tower and the gate going down in favor of Bork Side of the Moon as ATD09 gonna get stunned up. And the Molten Flame gonna be used to just push everyone away. And just a little bit of extra DPS, they could finish off this wall entirely. And I think they have the position for it. And with Silver Spy and Bacon being able to DPS over in the backline, they will be able to get this wall. And that's a really early wall to finish off with the hook. Almost lands onto Arcane 13th, but the multi-shot is going to be coming through. Dark Knight looking forward. They're aiming towards ATD09, but Dark Knight's the one that's starting to get low, but will get zoned away by the Molten Flame. Now ATD09 getting chased by Arcane 13th and just needs a little bit extra push. The multi-shot not going to be there. 100 HP left on that tank. ATD09 not going to be there. Now the Brush Stalker is coming down to this bot lane, and it is going to be 1-for-1, but Seralith gonna get poked down. Time Trap gonna prevent the extra push though. And with that, I'm a Burbs trying to zone everyone away. Seralith already looking for the channel and will be able to get the altar, but the team fight, oh no, will get canceled by the seismic shove from Smoke. So it's just going to be the DPS going back and forth. Arcane 13th on the wrong side of the map will get finished off there. As now the Molten Flame Smoke super low as well. Hoku in the backline, but no more mana. This poor Nahaka needs to get away, but Cutie Puppy with the final stab will be able to get that kill. And ATD09 will be able to get that successful channel. And it's going to be 36-32 on the core damage. 2 altars going the way of Bork Side of the Moon. And on top of that, they won the team fight, and they can start getting this push over in this bot lane. The hook not going to land. And the Lurking Arm just going to be used to zone them away. But the combo does land from Cutie Puppy. The multi-shot as well landing on to 4. Arcane 13th already going to hit that 20 stacks. So we'll have that extra 40 damage coming through. And I believe it basically doubles the bonus damage you get for those first 20. And it does end up dealing quite a bit of damage later on. I believe it does infinitely stack, as we see already at 23 stacks. Eventually, Cutie Puppy in a bad spot. Needs to get away. Doesn't want to lose those stacks. Lurking Arm buying a bit of space. And with the final multi-shot, we'll be able to land it. So right back to 90 stacks of sadism you go. So really well played by Macro Machines. They got the main target they needed. As Arcane 13th not going to get hooked. The Lurking Arm will buy a little bit of space, a little bit of time. But Seralith's almost going down. The damage from this Chromie is so insane. Now the Brush Stalker is going to be coming through here. Hoku down and ready to help the team. ATD09 starting to gear up for the hook, but the Molten Flame just going to be used to zone. And they're just chucking everything over in this bot lane. But there will be the Siege Camp getting stolen by Macro Machines. And they've definitely been on the losing side of most of these trades, but getting that extra pickoff and especially killing the stacks from Cutie Puppy will definitely help out, and also getting that extra camp will definitely lower the lead the Bork Side of the Moon have had. But with that being said, ATD09 will land the hook on a Dark Knight, but no Gorge yet, no level 10s yet, but they do have the multi-shot going through. They have the slowing stance, trying to prevent the fight from going forward. Dark Knight getting hit by the Dragon's Breath. A Silver Spy getting an auto by him a burb. Typically not where you expect your healer to be, but I mean, there was no other threat, so is willing to just trade. Hoku will land the drag over onto the ATD09. And there are 2 altars here, one in the bottom side. Silver Spy may be getting caught out by Dark Knight, but without a DPS and not going to be there. But Seralith going to get the first altar. Hoku will be able to get the second one. Now level 10 is there for Bork Side of the Moon, but now there's nothing left to fight for. Macro Machines, they got the push. They got the... they got both these altars, and they even got their Sapper Camp to land. So that dealt quite a bit of damage over to that top cannon tower. Now ATD09 gonna match into I'm a Burp. Smoke is there as well, just to help get that push. And Smoke was pushing the entire time, so at the very least was able to take down this top lane wall. And we'll give them a bit of pressure that way. And now it's 3v3 in the bot side. Still level 10 advantage for Bork Side of the Moon. And it will be the counter-strike for Cutie Puppy. Will definitely add quite a bit of safety and damage as well during these next few team fights. The Arcane 13th, I've seen that look on Valas before. Wants those stacks and will be able to get it. I know that feeling so bad. And because the multi-shot build, one of the reasons it's not commonly taken is you need a lot of stacks before it becomes worth it. It's a very long cooldown ability. It takes a long time to get the stacks where you're effective. And every other build is going to be able to provide a lot more agency a lot sooner and more consistently as well. So, but once you're able to get a lot of those stacks, if you're able to get any kind of wombo team fight, it's so easy to start pushing forward. Now Dark Knight looking for the play, but Cutie Puppy will be able to just push themselves away. What is that ability called anyway? The telekinesis, but the hook lands on a Dark Knight, and they still have the wall. But Dark Knight will be able to jump away in time, and the extended arm from Seralith is going to be able to come through and prevent any kind of follow-up. That is going to be the Gorge. Rain of Vengeance going to land on a Cutie Puppy. And that will be the end of that team fight. But this altar is spawning. Arcane 13th actually in a bad spot, but will be able to just reset. We'll have the Hearth as Hoku Brush Stalkers in. And luckily, because they have the Deathwing, they can kind of prevent these for quite a while. And now they have the drag over to the back line. The stasis will come through. Smoke still trying to get the play done. But Hoku will have the isolation onto ATD09. Cutie Puppy will be able to answer back now. The altar has already gone in the time trap as well. They could look to the fight. They have the Lunar Flare. Dark Knight will get hit by the leap as well. The telekinesis. But again, the massive shove from Seralith, buying so much space. But now Seralith's in a bad spot. Starfall, but the healing coming out is enough for now. ATD09 still chasing forward, not going to be able to land the stun, and they're all able to back away safely, but finally Cutie Pie will be able to get one, but instantly traded back. Now Arcane 13th is in the back line. They could look for more. They have the slow onto ATD09, the fear as well, and Arcane 13th could start poking down onto this massive tank, and Bacon's starting to get low as well. They're chasing down Bacon, and the Molten Flame will be there. Same with the autos from Arcane 13th. As Seralith looking for Smoke, but I believe Smoke does win that fight, and that will let ATD09 get back home safely. But the Sapper Camp will be able to finish off this bottom bell tower. So definitely a good position to be in for Bork Side of the Moon. Hoku, however, is given a little bit of time with this siege camp in the top side. So if they're able to push this in, it will be able to crash, and we'll be able to get some really good damage onto the wall of Bork Side of the Moon. Really for Smoke, I should say. It is mostly Smoke's lane, especially on Towers of Doom. The offlaners kind of get two lanes to themselves. One completely to themselves, and one only semi. But now the fight's going to be coming through, and the hook lands on Arcane 13th, but with the bell tower will be saved, actually. Not able to go through that. And they're trading back on his bell tower, trying to take it down as fast as possible. The multi-shot gonna come through, and the vault gonna be able to dodge out. Now the hook doesn't land on his Seralith, but the altars are spawning, and it looks like it's just gonna be the 1-for-1 trade. Hoku will take the one on the right, Smoke will take the one on the left, but the one on the left will do 2 more damage, so definitely a good trade for Bork Side of the Moon. 5 for 3 in terms of damage, 25 to 23 overall on the cores of both these two teams, as multi-shot gonna land just on ATD09. The hook, very close, but not gonna land either. Now Dark Knight's down here with Seralith, already trying to pressure in the spot lane, but with the Sapper Camp pushing in, it's definitely gonna be a bit more difficult. Arcane 13th is gonna be here, vault in aggressively, and luckily with the stuns, look at that, just permanent stun on the ATD09, and we'll be able to dodge out onto the hook as well. And now these Sapper Camps are starting to get close. I'm a Burb is gonna land. And the multi-shot starting to deal quite a bit of damage to these Sapper Camps. And with the Earth Shatter, with the Molten Flame, these Sapper Camps will go down. couple more hits from Arcane 13th as the hook will land on I'm a Burb. But that's a lot of damage onto I'm a Burb. Kind of had to sacrifice half the HP to be able to safely push that away. But it will save their core about 3 damage. So it could be worth it, especially if they're able to take flight sooner rather than later. Going to get tanked by the hook. And I'm a Burb definitely not happy with that HP bar. Going to be very difficult for them to play. But Dark Knight and Arcane 13th will get the push over in the mid lane. But Bork Side of the Moon, they're going to start stealing away this second Sapper camp. And this is where they could really start getting more pressure. Because last time it was defended mostly by I'm a Burb. But now this time, there's not enough HP left on this Deathwing to do the exact same thing. And will be forced to take flight. And it looks like Macro Machines, they don't even care. They were looking for a smoke over the top side, not going to be able to find the kill. And I do like that idea because they know they're definitely on the losing side if they go to the bottom, as the hook will land on Dark Knight. They have the Lunar Flare. Silence as well, but the Telekinesis is not going to be able to pull back Dark Knight. Just a bunch of burst damage from Cutie Puppy, though. As Hoku is on the back line trying to steal away that. But with the Lunar Flare, with the hook, Hoku will go down. No more stasis to be used defensively. And it looks like Cutie Puppy, they want all 3 ultras. They've already gotten 2. As now the third one is there on the right side. Arcane 13th, they're here to defend. Hoku not going to be up for 25 seconds, but I believe should have Brush Stalker, but the positioning is just not there. Cutie Puppy will be able to take that as well. 4v5 down town, probably still better that Macro Machines didn't try fighting that. And it becomes so much more dangerous when you do try to trade into that Stitches. The extra hook just coming down and hitting onto anyone other than I'm a Burb is basically a guaranteed kill in that situation. Now the Molten Flame will buy a little bit of space. The Hungering Arrow just going to be used for a poke. I'm a Burb instinctively dodging out the hook. Doesn't matter too much on that hero though. This Cutie Puppy just dealing damage over top. Now the Cataclysm will come through into the bot lane. Silver Spy will take a bit of damage from the multi-shot as well, but not too much. As now they have the Rain of Vengeance. They're looking towards them. And 1809 with a Haymaker going to get knocked into the back line. And that's going to be a pretty big pick-off for Macro Machines. As now they're looking for this bell tower. I'm a Burb. Could be even looking for more. They're chasing on a Silver Spy. They have the slow. They have the stun. Telekinesis is going to try to push Arcane 13th away. But the damage is going to be there. 1 extra kill. That's going to be 2 for nothing for Macro Machines. But what can they really get with this? Because right now they're definitely going to, at the very least, be able to get back their bottom bell tower, but can they get any kind of advantage on the map? That's the real question. Now they're definitely down quite a bit in terms of health on the core, but they are actually up in levels. So if they're able to get some good value here, and with it just being the single altar, they could at the very least close the gap a little bit, but not too much more. As Dark Knight jumping forward, looking for Bacon. It's just going to be a little bit of trading back and forth, but Serlith going to be there with the healing. Will be in a good spot for that. Hoku will land the drag over on the top side as Hoku and Smoke just trading back and forth. The leap going to get dodged by the stasis. That's actually a pretty big teamfight tool that will be missing for this set. As I'm a Burb just going to be standing in place. Going to be able to block it, and the Sentinel will land, but a little bit too late. So it will be 4 damage going into the core of Bork Side of the Moon. 21-8 now. Bork still very comfortably in the lead in terms of core health. Well, the structures have been evened out, and the level lead actually slightly in favor of Macro Machines, but Bacon gonna lose half the HP. Telekinesis almost catches out on Arcane 13, but won't be able to in the end. Now I'm a Burb with Euro Shatter, not going to be able to catch on to anyone yet. But Arcane 13 vaulted forward, and actually as soon as the Dwarf Toss comes in, will be coming through with the Gorge, but 1809 could be stuck in the backline, but with the movement speed is in a good spot. The Retaliate is there for Cutie Puppy. Rain of Vengeance will get the stun, and they have so many stuns just on a Cutie Puppy, on a Silver Spy, but they don't have the DPS. Smoke leaps on into the backline, but the Extended War from Serlith going to be able to keep them safe. As Silver Spy is in a bad spot. Arcane 13 going forward. 1 auto, not going to be enough for Bacon. Just a little bits of damage going back and forth. The multi-shot lands onto 4. And Arcane 13th is already at 78 stacks, but does get hooked. But with the vault, is able to back away for now. Dark Knight will get healed by Serlith. A couple of Sandblasts, and already has the Piercing Blast as Bacon. Again healed just in time by Silver Spy. That lurking arm was almost enough for that kill. Now Cutie Puppy looking for a potential play here, but not going to be able to find a very close team fight again. But neither side really comes out on top. Both of them almost got what they wanted with those plays, but neither one really able to fully stack up as Dark Knight almost gets hooked by ATD09. Not going to be, though. But they will slowly be buying space here. Now it is going to be the two altars spawning once again. Level 20 is very close for Backer Machine, but the piercing sands are already up for Bacon, and that will increase the damage quite a bit. Now the Cataclysm over top, going to buy some space. They have the hook, and it is on to Hoku, though. One of the more survivable ones. Will have the stasis, will be able to just jump back, but it is going to be one of the altars going the way of Backer Machines, and Silver Spy going to be low, 400 HP, Molten Flame over the backline, but the leap from Smoke will be able to take down Dark Knight. But again, all the objectives have already been taken. Backer Machines, 8 damage towards the core of Bork side of the moon. But the boss is up if they want to go for that. They could also just start pushing for bell towers. Level 20 is up for Backer Machines. Will get matched now by Bork side of the moon. And it is going to be the Far Flight Quiver coming out, so it's going to have that extra attack speed coming out for Arcane 13th. And the Sapper Camp will get stolen by Bork side of the moon. They're going to start pressuring into the bot lane. And with this, they should definitely be able to take this bottom bell tower. Gonna get pushed back a little bit by the Deathwing in the sky, but not gonna be able to accomplish too much, especially with the help of the Sappers. But having that extra bell tower definitely gonna help their positioning for these next few fights, and we're definitely starting to get near the end of the game. 13-8. Either of these two teams could definitely come out on top soon. Arcane 13th got a group with Hoku just to help get that DPS onto the siege camp. And why not? There's really nowhere else for Arcane 13th to be on the map right now. The Bork side of the moon, they're pressuring into this mid lane bell tower as well. They will be able to get the wall, but I don't know if they'll be able to get much else after that. Is now the hook not going to land onto anyone. But the next altar is just going to be spawning over on this bot side. It is just going to be the one altar. However, if Bork side of the moon are able to get it, the boss does win them the game, and now the fight could be breaking up, but Arcane 13th blows the combo, but no one was in the brush. So with that, it is just going to back. Everyone's just going to back away. Bork side of the moon will be able to secure their own Sapper Camp. And Macro Machines, they're in an awkward place. They don't really have a lot of place to walk backwards. But ATD09 will get the Gorge onto Hoku, but not a lot of positioning. As Cutie Puppy getting slowed, but the cleanse is going to come through. And Dark Knight in a bad spot in the backline will be able to jump away, but the hook will land. Now Cyril is fighting into Smoke and just needs a little bit more damage, and Smoke will go down. But the Stukov is still alive. Arcane 13th trying to fight in the front lines, but will get burst down as well. And Bacon with the Dragon's Breath looking forward. Cutie Puppy jumping forward as well. Hoku just trying to get a couple of extra hits onto this bell tower, but not going to be able to. And now these Sappers could, in theory, end the game if they're able to land here. But I'm a Burb is here for the push. Cutie Puppy and ATD09 trying to let it go through. And one will land, and they will be able to clear one. And that's all they needed to clear. They're still alive at 1 HP. Boss still wins the game, though, and it was a 3-for-1. I believe they should be able to just walk forward and grab them, but Hoku gonna be in the way. Gonna try to stop them from getting this victory. 15 seconds on Dark Knight, 21 on Arcane 13, but now the hook lands on a Seralith. And they have the Gorge as well. And that is the main target they wanted. Now there is a drag. Gonna prevent them, but Hoku will go down. Seralith will follow. And Bork side of the moon, they should be able to take the victory here. Just got to finish off this boss. And I mean, this has been a very fun series. But Bork side of the moon playing this third game especially well. And that's all they needed to do. GG's. Bork side of the moon win 2-1. Now we will pause for a bit just to take a look at the stats. You know, hashtag replay things. And, I mean, what really stands out to me is the siege damage from both these offlaners, but I mean, that's just Towers of Doom things. But the 93k damage from that multi-shot build from Arcane 13th, and this is what I'm saying, like, yes, they lost this game, but multi-shot has its place in the meta, and I'm tired of people thinking it doesn't. This specific game, it was the perfect choice, gave a lot of safety, gave a lot of poke, and gave a lot of scaling too. I mean, 92 stacks. That's 200 bonus damage, a bit over even. Yeah, it's about 230 bonus damage. Actually, everything said and done at the end. And with every single multi-shot landing on up to 5 people, that's an extra 1,000 damage burst if they're able to land it onto everyone. So that's what I'm saying. Multi-shot build is good. But with that, either way, Bork side of the moon gonna be able to win 2-1. And now we are gonna go to a short break here soon. But we do have another series. We're gonna be going over to Division E next. But very quickly, I would like to give a shout out to the sponsor of the TokiB stream, Legend of Mushroom. Be sure to download the game for free. Click the link and chat or the panel down below. And Legend of Mushrooms, an idle RPG game. Upgrade your mushrooms, get your classes, go through your jobs, and watch the numbers go up. I think that's really the best way to describe what the game is, but I'm going to go to a short break, let my voice relax a bit. And then we're going to be going over to Division E, so don't go anywhere.